I was reading in Matthew the other day and try to get into the Word sometimes a couple times a day. I just think it strengthens my relationship with the Lord. And I noticed that right after what's called the Transfiguration, when Jesus became radiantly bright while he was praying, and Peter, James, and John were just taken back. And God speaks and says, "This is my beloved Son with whom I am well pleased to hear him." I began reading after that, because there's an interesting thing that takes place where the disciples are trying to cast out a demon and they're unsuccessful. And Jesus comes down, handles the situation, and then in Matthew 17, I'll begin with where Jesus steps in. And Jesus rebuked him, and the demon came out of him, and the boy was cured at once. Then the disciples came to Jesus privately and said, "Why could we not cast it out?" And he said to them, "Because of the littleness of your faith. For truly I say to you, if you have faith as a mustard seed, you shall say to this mountain, 'Move from here to there,' and it shall move, and nothing shall be impossible to you." Now that phrase, we see that several times, and it's located in all three of the synoptic gospels, which usually indicates that it's something Jesus said that was so profound that each of the gospel writers, excluding John, thought it was important enough to include. And the basic saying is, "For with God nothing shall be impossible." Now, grammar alert for those of you who just can't stand grammar. Now's the time to shut it off. But for those of you who don't mind a bit of grammar here and there, we have in this phrase, "For with God nothing shall be impossible," we have a double negative. And that's not always easy to sort out. I know I've struggled always with math, and this whole idea of negative numbers, you add two negative numbers and you get a positive. I'm still not sure that I understand that one. Probably explains my C in math. But if we look at two negatives together in a sentence, then they become a positive. It's kind of like saying to your child, "You can't not do that." And what you're saying is they can, because they can't do anything else but not do that. But the negative isn't so easy to see in this phrase, "For with God nothing shall be impossible," because nothing obviously is a negative phrase. But where's the other one? Well, it's by adding the "I am" to the beginning of the word "possible" that you make it a negative term. So, with God, nothing shall be impossible. Now, to me, what I always try to do with double negatives is turn them around to the positive. And if we do that, what it basically says is, "For with God, everything will be possible." Now, I think that's a kind of an important thing to consider, that with God, first off, what does that imply? That means possession, being with God, that you and God are like one, that you are together. You have a relationship with God. So when you have a relationship with God, everything is possible. Does that mean everything will happen? Well, if everything would happen, then I would probably be driving a much nicer car. I would probably live in some big city somewhere if everything that I ever dreamed of came to be. So what it's saying is basically, when you have a relationship with God, that makes it possible for God to bless us in many different ways. And I think what really helps to regulate that is the level of your relationship. So it all comes down to that little word, "with." How deep is your relationship with God. Because the deeper it is, the more possibilities you have in your life. So I hope this little grammar lesson was helpful to you, and I can just say this, it was helpful to me. And so God bless. Hope to see you all soon.